Hi everyone, and welcome to this 2-point perspective study. And what I was trying to do, this is the first setup, not correct anyway, but I want to draw that kind of urban cottage and then its interior. Now this one is better, and what you can see is me drawing 2 points on the side of the paper. And from these 2 points, I am drawing this complete interior. And you can see what I mean immediately. Here you see those beams and the ceiling, the doors, all coming from the left disappearing point. And here you see the action of the right disappearing point. They go all the way around, and together they make this a fantastic drawing. Now the real-time version, of course, can be viewed on my Patreon page, should you like to really study hard. And here on YouTube I'm giving away all the tips that there are for drawing this nice cottage. And first you want to draw in the horizon here, and the 2 points that we are going to use. And what you want to do first is decide where the corner in the back is. Now of course you can take this straight in the middle, but that's not what I would advise you. Put it a little bit to the right, for instance, so out of center, because this will make your drawing somewhat more interesting to watch. Now what I do first is draw in the 2 walls that are in on the inside of that cottage, and then I want to decide where the door opening will be. It's a walk-through, so I go from vertical lines to decide, for instance, here where the window will be, and then for all the horizontal lines I'm using those 2 disappearing points. Now here on the right there will be a big door opening, and of course our walls will have some kind of a thickness, and I'm using my disappearing points to get those angles correct. Here you can see the thickness of the wall for the doors, and what I also do is draw in the frame that is around that gap where the doors will be. And it is very important that you draw in as much lines as you actually would see. Now these are the helper lines for the little windows that will be in my door. And for all the setup I'm using a simple HB graphite pencil. These can be easily erased, and so this is ideal for setting up perspective drawings. Now this is about where the windows will be, and there is wood in between the glass, of course, so I draw that in. And here are some planks on the bottom of that door, so I try to draw in with just little lines what I would see. Now in the small window there are 6 little glasses, so I draw those in too with the wood in between. And what is also nice, for instance, is to draw in some curtains. That's an example. And then here on the left wall I want to draw in a very solid walk through. So here go the vertical lines, and I want to have those big wooden pieces of wood that are holding up the ceiling. So I draw these in two, and they go all the way up to the ceiling. And here I'm drawing in some rounded, it's like the tree trunks. So they are kind of rounded, and the pillars are just standing up against that. Now here in the back you can just see the window, a piece of ceiling, and another window. So it's very nice to draw that into, so that you have some kind of look through into the other room. Then the beams on the ceiling, I draw those in from the left and the right disappearing point too, as you can see here. So those are correct too. And I do not quite measure this out, I just go with feel. And these are the smaller pieces of wood that are in between those big beams. And here on the left side I want to draw in a big fireplace. Now this is the plate where the fireplace will be on, and then here is the actual, it's kind of a chimney, I think. Here is the wall that is holding that chimney up, and some ornaments here. And you can always, by the way, erase disturbing lines out. For those parts you cannot look through. And then this is the wall that is holding up the ornament. And then here on the inside I draw in some rounded lines for the actual fireplace that is behind it. And here in front a copper pot. And then this is kind of the roof of that fireplace. And of course you can draw in all kinds of ornaments on that, like some flowers in a vase. Or here I did a sketch one day of a deer that was hanging from the wall when I was drinking coffee, so I'm using that as a nice ornament on that chimney. It's a stuffed deer. I do not care for it much, but it kind of looks nice in that old cottage. And what I also do is I draw in all the tiles that are on the floor, old tiles. So I'm using all these lines, and here I draw in a mat, a doormat. And then from the left point again I'm drawing all the lines to the right. So here is my floor. I have to connect this one. No. That's a rather good setup, I think. Walking these through. Always looking around a little bit if everything is kind of correct, but I think it is. I want to give those pillars some food here. So I draw those in too. It must look very, very, very bold, very, very sturdy, I think. And I'm making this up. I'm just drawing a little bit and just thinking of an old cottage, looking everything up. Maybe want to draw in rounded beams. Those are nice. So I'm getting rid of those lines, and then we have a rounded beams, and then I take my Staedtler pen. Setting up a drawing with graphite is perfect because it's easily to erase, but once I want to fixate or just see what I have been drawing, actually I use this ink pen. And at this stage it is very important not to use the ruler anymore, because I want to make this a real old looking urban cottage. The choice of not using a ruler anymore is very nice, because by this way I can get in those scribbly lines and give it that great feel of that oldness. And in old houses the walls are never perfectly straight, and there are some wood elements you can draw out. So maybe some cracks in the walls, and it will give your drawing that playfulness. And should you do this all with a ruler, then well, the total effect is gone of the old. It's great for new houses, for instance, but in case of drawing a very old building, it is more beautiful, I think, just to draw out of free hand. And whatever you want to do with this drawing at the final end, maybe you want to work it completely out with the ink. That is amazing. You can cross hatch, and you can get in as much as details as you want, of course. Or maybe you want to only put in some lines with the ink and then work it out further with watercolor or color pencils or maybe pastels. But it's all great. But first you have to get the first lines correct. And that was what I was demonstrating with that graphite pencil. But it is so nice to put in a little bit of texture too. And what I'm doing here, for instance, for those tiles on the floor, is to get that urban feel. I draw in each and every tile. So I make use of those little helper lines that I've made with the graphite pencil, and then I simply go around them with my ink pen. It's just amazing. I hope you enjoyed it and you will give this a go. It's so much fun to do. This drawing lesson continues on my Patreon page. Maybe you would like to join me there. And it's quite a bargain, actually. It was because for only $5 a month you get access to all my real-time tutorials, prints, extras and extra tips, of course, and coloring in this one, for instance. I'm hoping that I will meet you there, but I sure hope I will see you again, of course, next Friday. Take care.